All right, so this is an overview of what our club has been able to accomplish in the first 6 months of this Rotary year in international service. So this is our list of projects. I don't expect you to absorb all this, but there's 6 of them, so we'll walk through each of these, but they demonstrate a variety of geographic locations and project types that we want to encourage, so we have a broad spectrum of involvement. And I'll invite Jerry or Barbara to speak up if I overlook anything. First up is in Ecuador, we have supported a microcredit project under the expert leadership of a Rotarian down in Marin County. And this project emphasizes training and had 2 focuses on the kinds of businesses they were training. And one was garment manufacturer, and the other was my personal favorite is the bakery class. They can see they not only loan money as part of the microcredit, but try to make sure everyone is successful and repays their loans. So it keeps on rolling over. In Nepal, we supported a global grant, and that's located in the eastern part of Nepal. That is remarkable in that the buildings that you see in this picture are all part of this hospital complex, and it's on land that was donated by someone in the village, and the villagers got together and put up these structures, but there was no equipment inside them. So they're up on the upper left, you can see there's places for people to stay. They have quarters for staff as well as patients. So this is now in progress in that the grant was approved and the money transferred to Nepal, and they lined up vendors to come and install equipment, most of them from India. So we don't have the final report yet, but that should happen by June.
Michael, I'd like to go back to that one. Look down at the last bullet point. It says RI Cadre. That's the Rotary International Cadre, and that is a group of Rotarians from around the world who are more or less experts in whatever field it is, and they are kind of the eyes on the ground, overseeing, helping, working with, to help make these grants even more successful. So it's really kind of an interesting group. I think they've had articles about it in the Rotary magazine, but it's kind of fun. Salvador Rico of South Ukiah is a cadre for water projects. So they're kind of the homegrown experts that work with the Rotary Foundation and projects.
Yes, and their participation is required on grants of over $200,000, I believe. There is a threshold for they're required to be part of it. So this is another project located in Nepal. It's in the process of having been submitted. We put together a group of clubs that pool their money and get matching funds. In the diagram on the left, you can see the Kathmandu's on the right, and there's a little tiny bus, and it says 18 hours to get there from Kathmandu. You can fly to someplace nearby in less time, but it's remote even for a Nepalese person. And the map on the right kind of shows where this project is in the westernmost part of Nepal. And Kathmandu is about in the middle of the lower blue blob on the map. And the picture in the middle is of the Himalayas. It kind of gives you an idea of the kind of terrain you have to get over in order to get to most of the projects in Nepal. So that explains why 18 hours for 500 miles. That's like driving to LA, right? Takes a little longer. but it's based at 3 schools, and it's this combination of clean water. We need to filter the water in order to prevent waterborne disease, and putting up toilets at the schools that have doors on them so there's some privacy. So when girls reach puberty, they don't drop out of school as much. And there's sanitation training, which includes both hand washing. And also there's an element of, they call menstrual hygiene, because it's another reason girls drop out of school is they just miss a lot if they can't come to school every month for a few days. So there's a need for resources, and also to try to overcome some really repressive kind of beliefs and practices that prevail in rural Nepal and many other countries. So we're trying to do a little culture change there, and this is all on the initiative of the people in Nepal. It's designed by them, and our cooperating organization has done this before in other locations. So they'll hire somebody that goes there and oversees this project once it's approved. So it's submitted, but it hasn't been approved yet. Oh, on the other side of the world, we have been involved thanks to Jerry's leadership in Tanzania. And we had an opportunity at the very beginning of our Rotary year to do something with a donation for international service. And this opportunity was present in that the doctor that Jerry got to know, Eunice, has requested help getting oxygen concentrators to help critically ill people, mostly from COVID, who had respiratory problems. But this is different from a ventilator, and some would say better, way cheaper for sure. So we were able to provide, I think, 5 of them. Is that right, Jerry?
Right. We had donor designated money from 2 members, and very generous from two members to purchase 5 of these
Devices. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the exact make and model, but this is what one can look like.
I got pictures of Eunice with the actual concentrators with a sign on them on each one saying that it was donated by. You didn't get those photos? I guess not.
No.
Anyway, when I texted with him to ask about the photos, he said that they're doing pretty well there in Bukoba, which is pretty rural, remote. It's far western Tanzania, and he said they haven't had a COVID case in a while there, so that's really good news. But when it was raging, they used these prior to having somebody needing a ventilator, so it keeps them off the ventilators.
That's great. And in Uganda, the village named Okwalwagaba, they are upgrading their chicken farming operation. They see an opportunity there, and we were able to send $500 from the club via a Rotarian named Dale Knight, who's formerly from around here, Sonoma County, and moved to Mexico, but she visits Uganda regularly and went to Uganda and was able to transfer the funds. Sending money to places in Africa is often challenging because the bank systems are not trusted and by US banks, among others. So it's takes a little savoir-faire in order to make these transactions happen. So the money's in their hands. Chicks have been purchased and are being raised, and when they're strong enough, they'll be distributed to members of the village to cultivate and another source of funds for them. And we have a Dale Knight as a speaker somewhere in our schedule very soon, who will share more about this.
Yeah, and Michael, I just want to add that this village we've been doing projects with for the last several years, and it started with a district grant to develop a training farm to help. These are subsistence farmers. These farmers do not use any equipment. It's all done by hand and with hose. So we've been working with this village for several years. And when I was there, I think it was 2017, I received 2 chickens. They gave me 2 chickens, but they had to stay. So Fred Day, who is the ag advisor and who is now a Rotarian there, kept my chickens for me. And apparently they're doing just fine.
That's great. And the final one on our list is Philippines telemedicine expansion. So as many of you know, I'm involved with telemedicine a lot. And this is one of our premier projects, primarily due to the leadership of the medical director of a district hospital there. So there's a main central hospital, and they're using telemedicine to advise medical clinics all around in that city that the government finances, but they're staffed by 1 or 2 general practitioners, so they can't know everything. And they tend to refer cases they don't know how to handle directly to this district hospital. But in a lot of cases, the people that have been sent to the district hospital can be treated at the medical center. So with a little guidance by other medical professionals that are based at the district hospital, they can guide a general practitioner through what's needed. And they're a little overcrowded in the district hospital, and so they want to manage the flow of referrals so that it's truly justified. Because it's in the developing world, going to some other place for treatment is a challenge because a lot of them don't have cars, so they're in a position of taking public transit or walking or bicycling or riding on the back of a motorbike or something like that. And it's a hassle basically, and it can be hours of travel just to get treatment they could have had back near their home. So this is expanding from having 1 satellite clinic. So we did a proof of concept in March of 2021. And they liked the results, so they initiated a general grant, and our club was able to donate because the nonprofit that we have that supports telemedicine donated money to the club for this purpose. And we, in District 5130, raised a little over $20,000 towards a $60,000 project. So that's great. We got a lot of leverage because of matching from the Rotary Foundation. Now, I have one more slide to share with you that gives you an idea of what can be involved. I mean, Jerry knows this well because he led putting together a global grant. But you can see on the left, there's a list of clubs that chipped in on this project. And that's what enabled us as a district to contribute the funding that was matched at some level by the Rotary Foundation. I can give you all the details if you want, but I won't go through them all. But you can see that long list on the right is the clubs that are participating in the entire project. So their primary partner is in Korea. So they have connections all over the place. And Zamboanga City, where this project is located, and have put together, as you can see, there's 5 different Rotary districts involved, maybe 6 actually. So a wide variety of clubs and districts have contributed towards this grant. And that's the ambition of the leaders of this project to continue expanding this, because the Philippines is made up of about 1,000 islands, and there's several near Zamboanga City. You can see there's an archipelago. Zamboanga is kind of down the lower part of this slide. I'm pointing at it, but you can't see. But there's a bunch of islands that kind of go off towards Malaysia, and most of them don't have facilities. So if somebody gets sick and they need to come to the district hospital to get treated, then it involves a boat ride or an airplane ride. So you can see if treatment can be provided with the doctor being remote and with the help of a volunteer or healthcare professional on one of these islands, that would be a big advantage to everybody. Oh, any questions?